It often begins with the smallest things: a slow morning, a stumble on the stairs, a feeling that your legs aren't quite as strong as they used to be. You brush it off. Just age, right? But here's the thing. Aging doesn't mean decline. Not if we understand how to feed our bodies wisely. And surprisingly, one of the most overlooked sources of both strength and struggle is sitting right on our plates: fruit. For decades, we've been told that fruit is always good. And that's true to a point. Fruits are natural, colorful, and packed with vitamins. But not all fruits are created equal, especially when we're talking about life after 60. In fact, some of the most popular fruits can actually work against your body's needs as it ages. Not because they're inherently bad, but because your body's metabolism, muscle repair rate, insulin response, and nutrient absorption have all changed. What supported your body at 30 may now be slowing it down at 65. And that's why this video matters. We're going to explore 7 specific fruits that may be doing more harm than good. Fruits that sound healthy, look healthy, but can interfere with strength, mobility, blood sugar balance, and energy. Most importantly, we'll look at why this happens. No fear, no gimmicks, just clarity. And then, we'll shift toward the solution. Fruits that work with your body in this chapter of life. Natural options that support your joints, your heart, your muscles, and your vitality. Foods that don't just not harm, but actively heal. Because food is more than fuel. It's chemistry. It's communication. And it's never too late to rewrite the message you send your body every time you eat. Let's start by asking, what's the one thing your body needs more than ever after 60? Strength. And to build it, we'll have to be willing to let go of the foods that secretly take it away. Ready? Let's look at the first fruit. The first fruit on our list might surprise you, because it's one of the most widely consumed, often recommended for heart health, and almost always present in kitchen bowls across America. Bananas. Now, before you drop your spoon, let's be clear. Bananas are not evil. They're rich in potassium, they're convenient, and they've got their place. But for adults over 60, especially those struggling with muscle weakness or blood sugar regulation, bananas, especially very ripe bananas, can quietly work against your goals. Here's why. Ripe bananas are high in glucose and fructose, 2 fast-acting sugars that can spike blood sugar levels almost as quickly as a cookie. After 60, your insulin sensitivity typically decreases, meaning your body doesn't process sugar as efficiently. These spikes lead to crashes, inflammation, and eventually fatigue that affects movement, coordination, and even mood. That's not all. Bananas also lack the fiber and acidity that would slow down sugar absorption. The result? A short-term energy hit, followed by an even harder dip. And for those struggling with leg strength, that matters, because stability, stamina, and even muscle repair are heavily influenced by blood sugar balance and inflammation levels. So does this mean you have to give up bananas completely? Not necessarily, but how and when you eat them matters. If you pair a ripe banana with protein or healthy fats, like almond butter or Greek yogurt, it can help blunt the sugar spike and improve how your body handles it. Even better, swap it occasionally for fruits with lower sugar and higher fiber, like a firm pear, green apple, or kiwi, because the goal here isn't fear, it's fit. And being fit after 60 doesn't mean being perfect, it means being strategic. Let's move on to fruit number 2, one that's often considered a treat, but carries more sugar than you'd expect in a soda bottle. The second fruit on our list wears the mask of elegance. It's small, juicy, sweet, and often presented as a sign of wellness in spa waters, fruit trays, and summer picnics. Grapes. Red, green, or black, grapes are undeniably delicious. They're hydrating, they contain antioxidants like resveratrol, and they've got that satisfying pop when you bite into them. But for older adults, especially those dealing with declining leg strength, poor circulation, or insulin resistance, grapes can be deceptively problematic. Here's the science. Grapes are almost entirely composed of sugar and water. A handful may seem innocent, but in just 1 cup of red grapes, you're getting more than 23 grams of sugar and very little fiber to balance it out. That sugar, once again, acts fast, and in aging bodies, fast sugars often mean fast crashes. Blood sugar spikes lead to insulin dumps, followed by inflammation and oxidative stress, 2 factors that can damage capillaries, reduce muscle repair efficiency, and worsen joint stiffness. Not ideal when your legs are already trying to do more with less. Worse still, most people eat grapes by the handful, not realizing how quickly the sugar adds up. Because they're bite-sized and refreshing, we tend to underestimate them, treating them like a light snack when, metabolically speaking, they behave more like candy. So what can you do? If you love grapes, consider freezing them and treating them like dessert. Just a few at a time after a protein-rich meal. But for daily snacking, opt for berries instead. Raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries offer similar satisfaction with the fraction of the sugar and far more fiber and polyphenols, nutrients that actively reduce inflammation and support circulation in aging legs. The beauty of this stage of life is that it's not about deprivation, it's about refinement. And refining your fruit choices is one of the simplest ways to reclaim energy, balance, and ease of movement. Now let's talk about a fruit that's often praised for hydration, but may actually be dehydrating your energy levels behind the scenes. The third fruit we need to talk about is summer's sweetheart. It's juicy, vibrant, and nearly synonymous with health. You'll find it at barbecues, on breakfast plates, and in fitness magazines. But for adults over 60, watermelon deserves a second look. Yes, it's hydrating. Yes, it's low in calories. But that doesn't mean it's metabolically neutral, especially not when mobility and muscle preservation are top priorities. Watermelon is made up of about 90% water, which is great for hydration, but it's also very high on the glycemic index, meaning it raises blood sugar levels quickly. One large wedge can contain around 18 to 20 grams of sugar, most of it in the form of simple glucose and fructose. Now here's the catch. Unlike other fruits, watermelon contains almost no fiber to slow digestion. That means the sugar hits your bloodstream fast, and in aging bodies, that kind of sugar rush can be especially disruptive. It's not just about insulin resistance. It's about how those rapid spikes and crashes affect your energy, balance, and even muscle endurance. Have you ever felt shaky, tired, or unusually stiff after a sugary snack that should have been healthy? That's exactly the kind of hidden effect we're talking about here. Plus, watermelon doesn't offer much in terms of muscle-supporting nutrients. It's low in magnesium, low in protein, and doesn't provide the type of antioxidants that directly benefit circulation or connective tissue. And when leg strength and mobility are declining, every bite counts. So what to do? Enjoy watermelon occasionally, but not on an empty stomach. Pair it with something rich in protein or fat, like a handful of nuts or a slice of cheese. Better yet, switch it out for cantaloupe or honeydew, which have slightly lower sugar loads and more potassium. And don't forget the ultimate hydrating fruits: cucumbers, celery, and oranges. They hydrate while offering fiber, electrolytes, and anti-inflammatory compounds that support smooth movement. Now let's look at a fruit that seems innocent, even traditional, but in its most common form may be stealing your strength day after day. There's a fruit that feels like home. A classic. Something we grew up with, packed into lunchboxes, baked into pies, or sliced into salads. Apples. Yes, apples. The old saying goes, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But after 60, especially when dealing with joint stiffness, decreased mobility, or blood sugar issues, this beloved fruit might not be the best daily habit. Here's why. Most commercial apples today are bred to be incredibly sweet. The crisp, tart varieties of the past have been replaced by sugar-laden cultivars like Fuji, Gala, and Honeycrisp. These apples can contain upwards of 19 grams of sugar per serving. That's more than a donut. Worse still, apples are often eaten alone, on an empty stomach or as a snack, which means the sugar hits quickly. Combine that with low fiber in peeled or processed apples, and you've got another recipe for inflammation, sugar crashes, and fatigue. And that's not even touching the pesticides. Apples consistently rank among the most pesticide-laden fruits in the US, and as we age, our liver's ability to detoxify slows down, making chemical exposure more impactful. So what's the alternative? If you love apples, choose green varieties like Granny Smith. They're significantly lower in sugar and higher in tart polyphenols. Better yet, always eat them with the skin and pair them with healthy fat or protein, like nut butter or cottage cheese. This simple shift makes a world of difference. Next up, a fruit you'll find dried, blended, juiced, and disguised as natural sweetness. But for aging bodies, it's anything but gentle. The sixth fruit on our list doesn't always appear as a whole fruit, and that's part of the problem. Dates. Yes, those wrinkled, sticky bites that show up in health bars, smoothies, and clean dessert recipes. Dates are often marketed as nature's candy, and they truly are. But when you're over 60 and trying to support joint flexibility, muscle tone, or stable energy, dates might just be one of the worst fruits to consume regularly. Here's the deal. A single medjool date contains over 16 grams of sugar. That's one date. And because they're small, soft, and often eaten in multiples, you can easily rack up 60 to 80 grams of sugar in a healthy snack, all without realizing it. Now imagine the impact. Sharp blood sugar spikes followed by crashes, leading to fatigue, brain fog, and inflammatory stress in the body. That kind of sugar roller coaster wreaks havoc on aging joints, weakens connective tissue, and can make leg pain or stiffness worse. And unlike fresh fruits, dried fruits like dates have concentrated sugars, but almost no water or buffering fiber, so they hit hard and fast. If you absolutely love dates, treat them like a dessert. One or two after a meal rich in protein and fat, but not daily, and not on an empty stomach. Instead, trade that chewy sweetness for something just as satisfying but far more supportive to your health, like dried apricots, unsweetened, which offer fiber and potassium, or roasted sweet potato slices with cinnamon, sweet, grounding, and actually beneficial for joints and muscles. That brings us to our final chapter, the hopeful one. Because now that you know what to ease up on, it's time to talk about the fruits that actually support your strength, your mobility, and your energy after 60. Now that we've cleared the table of the sneaky saboteurs, let's fill your plate with fruits that truly support life after 60. Fruits that don't just avoid harm, but actively promote strength, clarity, and long-lasting energy. These are not trendy superfoods. These are time-tested, nutrient-dense, inflammation-fighting allies, and they belong in your kitchen every single week. Let's start with one of the most powerful. 1. Berries, especially blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. Low in sugar, high in fiber, and packed with anthocyanins and polyphenols, berries actively reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and support brain health. Studies show that regular berry consumption can improve balance and memory, two things many people start to miss after 60. 2. Kiwi. This little green fruit is a vitamin C powerhouse, but it's also rich in fiber and enzymes that help with digestion, especially helpful for slower metabolisms. Kiwi also supports collagen production, which helps maintain the elasticity of joints and skin. 3. Apples, especially green or tart varieties. Apples are a slow-digesting carbohydrate, rich in pectin, a type of fiber, that helps regulate blood sugar and feed your good gut bacteria. Paired with peanut butter or a handful of walnuts, an apple becomes a muscle-friendly, energy-stabilizing snack. 4. Avocado. Yes, it's technically a fruit, and one of the best for aging bodies. High in healthy fats, potassium, and anti-inflammatory compounds, avocados support heart health, brain function, and joint lubrication. Add them to smoothies, toast, or even salads. They work magic in almost every form. 5. Pomegranate. Known for its antioxidant power, pomegranate juice has been linked to improved blood flow, joint flexibility, and reduced markers of inflammation. A few spoonfuls of the seeds in a bowl of Greek yogurt can support both your gut and your knees. 6. Papaya. Rich in enzymes like papain, this tropical fruit helps with digestion, soothes inflammation, and supports nutrient absorption. It's gentle, sweet, and deeply healing for aging systems. 7. Oranges with the pith. Beyond vitamin C, oranges, when eaten with the white pith, provide bioflavonoids and fiber that help stabilize blood sugar and improve capillary strength. Instead of juice, eat the whole fruit to reap all the benefits. And here's the best part. These fruits don't just help you survive after 60, they help you thrive. Because aging is not the end of vitality. It's the beginning of a new kind of wisdom, one that knows the difference between what looks healthy and what truly feels healing. So next time you reach for a snack, remember, your plate is your power, your food is your future, and your strongest years can still be ahead, one smart bite at a time.